for days now, I have been struggling with wanting to upload a battle with this deck. I got the inspiration because somebody on YouTube posted it as an Inquisitor build. They were using Dark Inquisitor and Sharpshooter, as Sharpshooter makes its triumphant return back into the meta because of the infinite damage that you're needing to require to deal. I think Rifle Barrel is better. I switched it to Explosive Round in a previous battle, but I think Rifle Barrel is probably just better. So they built a Dark Inquisitor when Techno faction was getting the upgrade every 30 seconds or every 60 seconds or whatever, because that is for some reason part of Techno faction, and it was really good because you could run one Dark Inquisitor, one Knight statue, and then just a field of sharpshooters, and then it's just sharpshooting everything. I decided to add that as my random card that I can utilize in this deck. So this is obviously Blooming Dash, Fencing with Giants, Serrated Blades. I do think Serrated Blades, after trying it with Triple Lunge, is definitely better. And because I think that for the same reason that I've mentioned, if you have Dance of the Wind, you don't need Triple Lunge. Because if you have Dance of the Wind and you deal 400% damage, your Triple Lunge is not going to do more than what your Dance of the Wind is already doing. So you just need the extra damage, the extra base damage, and then the extra base damage with Fencing. You obviously don't need Elegant Parry because you're always switching. And what I ended up coming out with is the complete idea that it's much better if you run the Sharpshooter. I've been running different tech things. Obviously, the standard go-to is Trapper. I think Trapper is second best. I tried Sword. I don't necessarily like it. I've tried Bombardier. I've tried Chemist. And I think Sharpshooter does the only thing that this deck needed, which is to affect your opponent. I'm going to jump into this game here, and I forgot that battle history existed. And what I've been doing is just playing random battles and hoping that my entire speech is not wasted. And I've recorded this video like 3 times now because I just kept going into a battle where it was just awful. Like, I would do this entire speech, go into a battle, and I think this Necro battle was dumb. And that's what I started with. And then I was going to, I won against this guy, and the battle was okay, but I just played one, and it reminded me that battle history exists. So I'm going to play this battle, because this battle was exactly why I feel like this deck is good. So obviously I'm not playing this, or I did play this. And I'm going to just commentate over this, I suppose. The reason why I think that this deck is good is because it fixes all of the problems that decks need to be able to handle. One, because every deck is basically maxing out, you're able to, because every deck is, you're getting like max Inquisitors, max Cultists, max Blade Dancers, like talents for all of these legendaries. You have to deal a lot of damage. If you just can't deal damage, you're not going to be able to hang for too long. And an Inquisitor deck is just going to kill you. I think the better Inquisitor deck is the Light Inquisitor deck, which this deck obviously handles really easily. I have no way of, I would love to turn off my text notifications, but I can't, because then that would put me into airplane mode, and then Rush Royale would stop working, so sorry about those. So you need to deal a lot of damage, which is why in this meta, and in the current state where my game is, for me to run anything other than my max card, my max legendary card, would just be silly, and I would probably just lose because I won't be able to deal as much damage with, like, let's say a level 10 cultist, right? Which is why I'm constantly running Blade Dancer, because it's my max legendary. So you have to deal damage, and Blade Dancer does a lot of damage. Max Blade Dancer, with my full sword, a legendary setup, I have the legendary sword, the legendary amulet, so I get the 4 tiles. It's the most damage that I can do with a deck. The second problem that you have to prepare for is debuffs. So if you can't get rid of King Pudding, Dark Priest, Virus, if you can't get rid of those, you're just going to lose late game, because your damage will push you into late game. But the thing that's going to kill you late game is that all of the debuffs that are automatically going to happen, because even if you insta-kill a boss, it doesn't matter. Virus is going to happen, Dark Priest is going to happen, and King Pudding is going to happen. So you can't kill enough or you can't kill something fast enough in order for the effect to not happen. So if you decide to run a deck like a Blade Dancer deck, where you're relying on the takeaway debuff, the elegant, I can't remember what the thing is called, elegant parry, I believe it's called. If you're trying to rely on elegant parry and one of your like level 7s, for example, gets Dark Priested and it just doesn't go away, you die. If you can't get rid of debuffs, you just die. If you're playing that version of the deck and your opponent is running a sword and you can't, and the debuffs don't go away, you die. With this deck, because you're switching out everything, you're able to immediately not only get rid of all 3 of those debuffs, but you're also able to protect against Shaman and Witch, which again are also important, because if you can't get rid of a Witch thing and your opponent is super playing Witch, you will die. The other thing about this version of the deck, and why I think Blooming Dash is much better than the stationary version, is that whenever you switch, and you have the power to switch, it's increasing all of your Blade Dancers. All of your Blade Dancers are getting the bonus damage, not just the one that the other version, the Dancing Petals, not just the Dancing Petaled Blade Dancer. Because with that version, whatever the Dancing Petal number is on that specific Blade Dancer is the damage bonus, the damage boost that specific Blade Dancer is getting. With this version, all of them are gaining the increase. So once you get to 50, I believe, I think once you get to 50, you get 50% damage. And then anything beyond that is 0.75 or something like that, something less. But you do have the ability to keep going, and you're therefore increasing your damage. The other thing that you have to worry about is being able to affect your opponent. With all 3 of the things that I've mentioned before, damage, increasing damage, and being able to worry about debuffs, that's all the stuff that you have the ability to control on your side of the field. But if you can't affect your opponent, then what it becomes is just an out-damage race. Can you out-damage your opponent? And if your opponent has just a strictly stronger deck, like they have this exact deck, but they have a level 20 Blade Dancer, or a level 20 gadget, you just lose. You lose for no other reason other than because they can just out-damage you. Because then you're just playing a damage race. With this version of the deck, with Sharpshooter, you're able to affect your opponent, and being able to affect your opponent is the one thing that wins me this match, and it's the reason why they included Sharpshooter to begin with. I was never going to be able to out-damage Light Inquisitor once it starts going into late game, because the Light Inquisitor deck has the ability to immediately get rid of all debuffs, every time it eats a new Light Inquisitor. It has an effect where once you eat a Light Inquisitor, once you merge a Light Inquisitor, remove all debuffs from all Light Inquisitors, which is why it's the best version of that deck. It also has the ability to Dryad itself early game, so that it has the ability to maintain early game, and then late game, all it needs is exactly what the setup is that he's running right now, which is 4 Light Inquisitors on Knight statues, and then like 2 Trappers. You don't really need more than 2 Trappers. You can have them, but I don't think it's necessary. Ideally, he would want the Trapper obviously on that Knight statue, so I'm pretty sure he's going to keep it. It would be weird if he didn't keep it. And that's pretty much it. He can basically just sit on that forever, and then just keep increasing his Inquisitors and his Knight statues, so that he could have a level 7. He could have a full. He could generally have a level 7 field. At which point I would probably theoretically lose if I wasn't able to affect his field. And I think that this match perfectly encapsulates why this deck is good, because eventually I beat him. Spoiler alert, eventually I beat him specifically because the Sharpshooter is just doing so much late game, and it's stunning so much because of the different bosses that even though he's able to immediately get rid of debuffs, he can't get rid of the immediacy of being stunned. And once you start getting into late game, that starts getting really, really detrimental. I really thought that I was going to lose this game too. There were a lot of points in this game that I thought I was going to lose, and I ended up winning. And I know that the only reason why I even won this was because of Sharpshooter. And that's all I really wanted to do with this deck, was I just wanted to showcase why I think Sharpshooter is really good for this deck. Right around here, I started realizing that I was not dealing enough damage to bosses. And I was getting really scared. I only have 4 Blade Dancers right now. And it's because I have way too many Portal Keepers and just random things. I think there was a part of me around here where I just couldn't figure out like why I wasn't doing enough damage. And then I started merging out my level 1s, and I just started going for more Blade Dancers just to have them. Like, I thought I was going to die right here. And that freaking tornado, man. That tornado was so good. Like, dealing 400% of your damage is nutty. I started to stabilize, so I was okay with having more Sharpshooters. That's why I have these 3 level 1s, but I'm definitely going to get rid of those because I need to deal more damage. Or maybe this Tribunal is going to get rid of them for me. Yeah. I even got Tribunaled, and then I got King Puddinged. Like, I did not have high hope for this game. Like, he already killed off his both of his bosses. I was like, I'm definitely losing this game. That Dryad that I didn't copy, I meant to copy with the 2 Harlequins, and I just didn't. So I had to I just had to do other stuff and hope. I did like having the other 2 Blade Dancers just for the damage, and maybe that saved me. I don't know. You don't even need a lot of Sharpshooters, as you'll see. You just need a couple of high-level ones. And even if those get Dark Priested, it doesn't matter. If it gets King Puddinged, it doesn't matter. It's not dealing more damage than your Blade Dancers. See, like, here's another example. Like, where I'm pretty sure I'm gonna lose. Like, I'm not taking down this that guy, and now I get a 35 million boss that I'm definitely not gonna defeat, or I'm definitely gonna defeat. But I'm like, oh great, a Gorgon and a Grandmaster. This is not good. I'm pretty sure he even gives me like a good game, and then I end up like killing the boss anyway. Oh, there it goes. So we're getting triple bosses now. And that stun right there, like, I don't know what happened to his deck, but like, he just stopped being able to deal damage. And then I just won. Like, the damage that he was doing just wasn't enough anymore. I think I get another stun in. Yeah, like right there. And then you just win. And that's how the deck works. Like once you get into late game, which is where I struggled, can I see all the stuff? That's some weak equipment. A level 6 gadget is not good. But he did have a max level that, level 10 that, level 10 that. I guess he didn't have Dryad talents, but as you can see, like, he didn't necessarily need the Dryad talents weren't necessarily killing him. The level 6 gadget is pretty detrimental, and like I guess the equipment is pretty bad. But yeah, like, that's how the deck works. I think it's good. I think that it's the best version of this deck currently. I hope they nerf Dark Inquisitor, because Dark Inquisitor is still dumb. But yeah, that's it.